Welcome into the Sarcastic Remark Studios. Boy, do we have a game to talk about tonight. This is the after game review for game number 54. I think I forgot 53, 54, something like that. But what a game against the Winnipeg Jets here tonight. Please go and use the promo code THPN the next time you go and use the DraftKings app for a special little offer from them. And it lets them know that we are the ones that sent you. And I don't even know what else to say, so we're just going to go straight into it. Hey, Chris, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing great. Oh my gosh, the Stars are so exciting recently. It's so good. I've
And
had so much fun watching them recently.
so I don't even know where to start with this game, to be totally honest, because you could go the suckiness of the officiating tonight. That was absolutely suck. That I mean, there's no other way to describe it. You have the hat trick, first career hat trick in Jason Robertson's 100th career NHL game, and he has 97 points in 100 NHL games to start his career. Or you could talk about the insanity that was Braden Holtby tonight after not seeing the net for 3 weeks. Where do you even start, Chris?
Robertson. Oh my goodness, that guy is so good. That guy is so good at this stupid hockey game. He's crazy. That first goal, he literally took him out of his shorts, is what I said. I mean, the goalie Hellebuck was all over the ice. He just danced him out of his shorts. And the second one is just a great shot, just beat him. And the last one, he has no gas left. Somehow he still gets going and puts it past him with a sick wrister, and then lays on the ice and falls asleep. Apparently, that was so cool.
I mean, that has to be the silly of the year. I mean, it has to be, right? I don't care what team it is of the NHL. That is the silly of the year. You get your first career hat trick in an overtime game in a huge playoff implication game, nonetheless. And I mean, I was expecting a little bit more out of the celebration when it comes to Jason Robertson, but I guess it makes a lot of sense, right?
No, I knew that was coming. That was the perfect
You
thing
totally
for him
knew
to
it was
do.
coming.
Just boom, done. He finally gets to rest.
So now everyone who's complaining about us not re-signing Klingberg, do you understand why we're not signing Klingberg right now?
Oof.
Pay the man. Pay him. Give him what he wants. 7, 8, 9 million. Do it. Because, I mean, this is exactly the reason why. We're paying him $950,000 right now. And he has almost 30 goals.
He's arguably our best player.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. And if he doesn't get paid in the offseason, I'm gonna be hacked off.
He's going to. I'm honestly I'm past a bridge deal too. 97 points in 100 games. You don't need a bridge deal for that. Give him term, give him money, and make him set in Dallas. That's got to be something that's locked down. Same way with Heiskanen.
Yeah, I mean, Heiskanen got the $8 million the 8-year deal, for $8 million. I mean, you could easily see something just like that for Jason Robertson, and
if not
just not just for the fact of what we think he's probably going to do in the future, but what he's already done. And if the Stars make the playoffs, if they do, we're gonna look back on this game, and this is going to be a huge reason why the Stars make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he's Calder runner-up to a guy who is not really a rookie because he played high-level professional hockey before, and then he follows it up in a league that is known for sophomore slumps by being better than he was last year. So, yeah, he's definitely proved it. Like I said, no bridge deal, no 3-year, no 4-year. Give him the max.
8-year.
Give him as much money as you can. Keep him in Dallas. That's it.
Dude, give him $9 million. Seriously, give him $9 million.
Give him $9 million.
Yeah, I mean, at this point right now, and maybe I'm just talking as a Stars fan because this was absolutely insane. But I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
There's not a better young guy in the NHL, really.
Right now, that's definitely
right now.
The case.
I think he is the best potential, best scorer at his age right now. I mean, obviously there's Kaprizov, who he's going to be compared to for forever. Kaprizov is older than him by 4 or 5 years?
I think 4 years, at least 3.
Yeah, so he has so much more potential than even Kaprizov does. At his age, Robertson is arguably the best player in hockey.
And I love to hear that. That is so awesome to say. And this dude came, and we'll say this again. This dude came out of nowhere. Last January, a year and 2 months ago, this guy was on the taxi squad. He
Mhm.
was on the taxi squad.
And he snuck
And
onto the taxi squad. He wasn't on
yeah,
anybody's radar.
no, but he was a up and coming prospect for the Stars. We expected him to maybe do a top 6 role, maybe. And then he comes up, he does what he does last year, and then this season he just takes it another level and uh, screw sophomore slumps.
Yeah, right?
I mean, seriously.
Sophomore success.
And I mean, I especially, I mean, I love the way that he reacted at the end of the game when he scored the third goal. I mean, that is textbook Jason Robertson like there. He wasn't even happy that he scored the goal. I think he was more happy that the game was over.
He's happy that he got the stop.
Yes, exactly. His, I mean, he literally. I mean, you could see it. Nobody on the ice at that point. None of the skaters had any energy left. And Jason Robertson, he saw the puck after the shot went wide and came up the corner, and he's like, "Oh crap!
That's
I
exactly
guess I
what I was
have
about
to
to
do
say. It looked like he was like, "Oh, dang it.
Dang it! I actually have to do this." And then he's like, he scores the goal. He's like, "Okay."
Yep.
Falls asleep.
Exactly.
Dude, what a
So
what a
good.
game. Robo. I mean, and it just, I don't know how you felt about this game, Chris, but and I only got to really listen to a majority of the game. I got to watch a little bit of the second period because I was driving up here to North Dallas. But when I heard his name and you could hear, Josh's voice raise, you just knew he was going to score. I don't know. I don't know what it was. And I just knew when he got the puck and you could hear Josh's voice. It's like, okay, he's going to score. He's going to score. And I felt confident that he was going to score. And,
Yeah.
we haven't had a player like that, since, Ben and Sagan were like that, in all honesty.
Yeah. And the way he scores is like different the way most NHL players score too. Like most people I would say are like confident with the puck and they'll do these crazy things. I don't feel like that's the right word for Robertson. He's more like calm with the puck. Like he's just careful. He knows what he has to do and he just does it. Like that first goal, he didn't do any flashy move. He just forehand back in, wait out the goalie, go around him and it's in. Like he doesn't have to do the over the net or the Michigan or anything. He just scores.
Well, and that's what we love what some people don't understand about this guy. This guy, he doesn't have like a quote unquote super skill, if that makes any sense. He
Yeah.
doesn't really have, like, when we talked about this already, but like his skating is not like elite. His his puck handling is not super elite. It's just he does everything right and he's in the right place at the right time almost all the time, it feels like, especially right now.
Yeah. Got to be one of the
And
smartest hockey players.
right, and that's what we talked about. We talked about his IQ and the fact that his positioning is just elite. Maybe that's what it is. Just his offensive positioning is just absolutely elite, and he knows how to take advantage of his opportunities when he gets them. So,
Absolutely.
and I mean, we could rave about Robertson all night, but we have a lot to get to as well. But I do want to jump on this because if it wasn't for Braden Holtby, I don't think the Robertson hat trick is possible. It's just not. And I don't know how you felt about this game in particular, Chris, but I honestly felt that Winnipeg probably deserved to win this game.
No.
Did you think?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the
You
first two
don't think so?
periods, the Stars played a lot better than the Jets did, I think. And obviously the refs were garbage and was giving the Jets pretty much everything until our last goal, which funny enough, the cross check right in front of the net doesn't get called, I think because of all of the diving earlier in the game. Funny how karma happens. But anyway, I thought the first two periods we played much better than them. If they don't have those 3 power plays in the first period, we would have outshot them almost double, I feel like. Because they had 6 full minutes with an extra man, and we still kept the shot counter close at that point. So I thought the Stars played really well. The third period, they tried to turtle it. And that's what they keep doing. We don't like it, but obviously it's a thing that's going to keep happening. But I mean, I'm happy again, like me and James talked about last game, the way they responded, the emotion that they showed, and like this team is fully bought in now. And at the beginning of the season, they weren't. I mean, you could tell they weren't trying as hard to get these points, but these guys are scratching and clawing for every single point now this season, not letting any game go and just say, all right, we'll take the next one. they're fighting for every single point now. And that's what's so awesome to see about this team. And it's happening at the perfect time, obviously.
Well, and the other thing we should mention is that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that we were missing two of our, top end guys in Miro Heiskanen and Tyler Sagan tonight, and we're able to pull out the win. Yes, it's against Winnipeg, but Winnipeg played a good game tonight, I thought. I didn't think they sucked it up, but the effort from them was there tonight. If you look at Winnipeg's, in part of it, I really think they got goalied tonight. I really think that Winnipeg got goalied in a way tonight because Braden Holtby was just on his game tonight. And they might not have had a huge amount of zone time, through the duration of the game, but especially in that third period where it was just constantly in the Stars' end and we were just turtling and turtling and turtling. He was just, absolutely incredible. And it was scoring chance after scoring chance. Holtby with the save, Holtby with the save, Holtby with, constantly hearing that from Josh Bogorod.
And all throughout the penalty kill too. He was the best penalty killer tonight as well. And we're 1 for 6. Like, honestly, we'll take that. And
it should be 0 for 6, honestly.
Yeah. And I said
2 seconds.
The 6 is garbage too. That's ridiculous. Should not get 6 power plays off of what happened tonight. But he was great throughout all of it. And he's the second biggest reason why we won tonight, in my opinion.
Well, you can't really disagree that him and Robertson were the top two. I would put Holtby first, but Robertson, can you put him 1.5? I don't know. But I just feel like without Holtby's performance, there is no chance for Robertson to get that hat trick in overtime. So, but anyways, I think this will be a good transition into that third thing that I mentioned, which was how poor the officiating was in this game, and specifically the first period. It was bad in the second period too, but the first period was just absolutely atrocious. I don't think any of the penalties that we got, maybe other than the fourth one, were actual penalties. I think the slashing was probably a penalty, but the first 3 were definitely not.
Yeah, it was garbage, obviously. Razor was talking about every single one, and he doesn't normally bicker on refs that much. So they were obviously
and he called them out. He called them out at the end of the first period, and he said, the fact that he's coming out and saying that this was already a poorly officiated game, then it's ridiculous.
It sucks.
But
they've sucked all year, and a lot of people have pointed that out too. And I don't feel like anything's changing. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the playoffs, because you can only imagine that if they're this liberal with their whistles in the regular season, they're going to be the exact opposite in the playoffs. And then we're going to get the same complaints from especially teams like Edmonton and Colorado with the 2 flashy guys. Like, no whistles are being called. This isn't hockey anymore. They're just locking us down with cheating, which it kind of is. Like, it's against the rules.
You're not calling the rule book.
So
let me go ahead and pull this up too. This is Alex. Alex, thank you for listening. Third period was bad reffing too. You can't go from calling everything to calling nothing. That's a very good point. Because,
and that's what I'm talking about with
very good point.
Playoffs too, because that's the exact same thing that they do in the playoffs. They'll call a completely different game in the regular season. Game 82 is completely different from game 1 of the playoffs, and it's wrong. Like, that shouldn't be how it is. Like, hockey should be the same no matter what. So. And Dad's gonna hate me saying that. He loves that they put the whistles away in the playoffs, but it's a different. It's not okay to make the game different when it comes playoff time. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
Well, and we've talked about this on this podcast.
And it doesn't make sense to make the game different in the third period than the first 2 periods either, because they don't want to change the outcome of the game. You've already changed the outcome of the game in the first 2 periods, idiots.
Right, and here's the thing about changing the outcome of the game. If the Stars had lost this game, I would have been highly hacked off. And specifically, when you look at the time on ice, you could look at the time on ice for each of the players tonight, and it's a direct correlation with how we possibly could have lost the game. Because all of the guys that kill penalties were obviously, on the ice tonight for the Stars. Yeah. So, like, when you take a look at shorthanded time on ice, you've got Glenn Denning with 6 minutes and 18 seconds on ice for shorthanded time. That's stupid. Then you've got Roddick Foxa with 3 minutes and 3 seconds. You've got Raffle. Oh, I love the guy. He's one of my favorite Dallas Stars right now, with basically 4 3/4 minutes. Hintz with 2.5, considering all the time that he also had in the offensive zone. And then you cannot say enough about the top 3 on ice tonight for the Dallas Stars defenseman wise. You got 7 minutes and 2 seconds for Hakanpää. Oh my goodness. And then Lindell, he only had 9 seconds more, 7 minutes and 13 seconds. And then you had Ryan Suter with 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And, I should also mention Joel Hanley. Joel Hanley, who hasn't played a game in, 7 or 8 games. So I guess 2 weeks-ish, whatever. He had 2 minutes and 50 seconds time on ice. So, that was a huge step up by all of those guys.
That's
absolutely
a huge 3
fantastic
minutes too by Hanley too, and he's stepped up well. And I don't think we can overstate enough like how good Hakanpää and Lindell are on the penalty kill. They have to be 2 of the best penalty killing defensemen in the league right now, and it's obvious because we're relying on them so much, especially tonight. And like you were saying about the refs causing our time on ice to be skewed, yeah, Glendening was our 4th highest time on ice behind our first line.
Just because he was on the penalty kill all the time.
And that never happens if the refs call a normal game. So, they totally screwed us, even if Winnipeg only got 1 goal. So, yeah, it was garbage officiating, inconsistent, not penalties. They're not calling the rule book. Yeah, it was just trash. Well, and let's call out Winnipeg, too, for diving all over the place.
Oh, yeah, seriously. Like those first 3.
Not one guy could stay on their feet tonight for Winnipeg. And, like, for a team that prides themselves on being so rough and tough to play against, that's some bullcrap. Come on. Pansies.
Yeah, it was seriously bad. So, let me count how many penalties there were called tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 penalties.
Oh, yeah, there's the
called tonight. And then against the Stars, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus Winnipeg's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And 3 of those were just bullcrap calls. The first 3, the
first
hooking,
3 weren't even close to penalty.
No, yeah, they weren't. They just fell. All of a sudden, their legs just dropped out from under them. Joe Pavelski got a hooking minor, and I actually went back and looked at that was the worst one of the first 3. And then Rope Hintz, what kind of bullcrap was that? That wasn't even hooking. And then Jamie Benn got a hooking call too. It was just like if you fell on the ice and your stick was somewhere close to the guy's, whatever, to his skates, to his hips, whatever, and you just fell, you got a call in the first period if you're Winnipeg. And it just hacks me off. And I'm just, I don't know what the NHL needs to do to fix this officiating crap. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
just call the rule book.
There's a way to fix the diving, and it's by fining people. So
I don't even.
I know that's not going to happen, but
I don't.
Getting called out on social media for diving, that's for a hockey player. That's a pretty big thing. If you're a soccer player, no one cares. But a hockey player getting called out on that's going to get some heads to turn. I think that's the only time where fining would actually be helpful.
Well, see, I disagree with that because it's like what $5,000.
But it's not. It's not the money. It's the fact that you're out there and the league said you're a diver.
I'd rather see.
Worse than any curse word.
I'd rather just see them call embellishment penalties.
They should. The rest are just stupid tonight. They just didn't know that they were embellishing, which is unbelievable.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, they just called anything that went easy. So, but whatever. So, anyways, anything else before we get into goal summary? Nope. Anything else I can think of off the top?
For after, but
yeah, I do too. We'll talk about that too. Through the first period, Jason Robertson gets the first of his 3 goals tonight, his 24th of the year from Suter and Pavelski. It was a legit, beautiful goal. And it was just, it was just simple. It was just simple stick handling is all it was. He made it look like he was going to go to one side and then went back to his forehand and then just kind of deked around Connor Hellebuck. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was clean. Just so patient.
And in the first period, I thought it was a very evenly matched period for the most part. The Stars,
other than the power plays that they got.
Right. And that's what made the game so weird. And I honestly thought the Stars would have ran away with this game a little bit if the power plays had not been called. And that's just how I felt. But we'll never know because the freaking refs, I guess, I loved Razor's comment that he made. He says, "The rest of moms must be watching this game because they're wanting to get more FaceTime on the cameras or something." So I don't know,
Definitely true.
but anyways, that was the first period. Just lots of penalties in that first period. There were 3 called against Dallas and 1 against Winnipeg. So I mean, 0 for 3 for Winnipeg. Through the first period. And if you're Winnipeg, one of the things you're looking back at in this game is, yes, you might have gotten goalied a little bit, but the fact that you went only 1 for 6 on the power play is really bad.
Yeah, that's why you lost. I mean, honestly, you got to score more than 1.
Well, and I mean, that could have been the reason why we could have lost, because we didn't take advantage of our opportunities either.
Well, we haven't been
But
doing that a lot, but I'm
for
sure
a
we'll get
while,
into
and we've
that in a
still been
little
able to
bit.
win somehow. So I don't know. But was there anything else in the first period that you thought was noteworthy?
Was that when Klinger had that turnover on the power play? Was it that first power play that led to the breakaway?
I don't remember. It was the first or the second one. I'm sure the
Yeah.
chat will tell us.
I don't remember, but yeah, Klingberg does the exact same thing he did last game, where the turnover on the blue line, except this time it leads to a full-on breakaway. Like, he's got to stop. Like, that's pretty awful. So his value on the free agent market is going down, down, down. So, I mean, this year has not been great for him. He needs to figure it out.
Down, down, down into a burning ring of fire.
Exactly.
Maybe. Exactly. Okay. Anyways, second period. Paul Stastny finally, after all the chances that Winnipeg has gotten, they finally put one in on the power play with, I think, 1 or 2 seconds remaining in said power play. And that Stastny's 14th of the year. It would be his first of 2 goals he would get in this game from Andrew Kopp and Nick Ehlers. And it's tied 1-1. And at that point, I wasn't too frightened, but I was worried because that was the first time they had gotten a puck past Braden Holtby, and Holtby was standing on his head at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent shot, I guess. I would have liked him to have that one, but it's fine. It's whatever.
I mean, considering all the other saves he made, true. I honestly thought he could have.
Yeah, I thought this one was easier than the other ones he made.
Right, exactly. Anyways, the period would continue on. And by the way, that was about 14 minutes into the second period, so with about 6 minutes left. But Jason Robertson, being the clutch performer that he is, he would get a goal going into the third period with about 51 seconds remaining. He gets his 25th of the year from a great pass by Thomas Harley. Completely set up Jason Robertson.
Defensive play on the blue line by him and a sick pass. Of course, Robertson buries it with an even sicker shot, but still, it was great play by Harley. And there's something to be said about knowing who's gonna score when you're on the odd man rush. Harley knows he's not gonna score, and he's got the guy right next to him. He is gonna score. Get it to him.
Hey, mark my words. He's gonna get his first career goal here in the next week or so. Thomas Harley.
He keeps looking better.
He's finally starting to show up on the score sheet now too, with 2 assists in the past 3 games. So we will see. We'll see how he does. Yep. But anyways, that was a huge goal going into the third period. And one of the stats that I was listening to, Bruce Levine brought it up on the radio broadcast. He said that when the Stars are up by a goal, they're 16-3-1. And then on the flip side, the Jets are 3-15-3. So a really good stat to have if you're the Stars going into the second intermission.
It's kind of shocking too, considering how much we complain about the turtling and stuff. Somehow it seems to go our way.
I don't know, man. I just
don't like it still, but I guess it works out.
I guess it's effective. Whatever. However, the worst thing as a Stars fan that you could possibly have happen is have the Winnipeg Jets come out in the third period and immediately score a goal, which is exactly what they do.
And Kyle Connor gets his drop. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, you knew from puck drop they were going to score. I mean, they were going to score.
They would not be denied. They were
so
pissed.
Good. They looked pissed. That's a good way to put it.
And Kyle Connor, who is one of the elite scorers in the NHL right now, he has been for several years now, actually. He gets his 33rd of the year from Svechnikov. I can never say that. And Dubois. And it's tied 2-2. And at that point, after that goal, it's just all Winnipeg Jets for about 10, maybe 15 minutes of the third period.
Yeah, it was not good. It was downhill for the Jets by far. And Holtby stood on his head and held on to the dam as much as he could.
And this downhill play, this downhill skiing from the Jets would lead to Stastny getting the second goal of the game for him, his 15th of the year from Blake Wheeler and Dylan DeMello. And that gives Winnipeg their first lead of the game. And everyone collectively says, uh-oh. And at that point, I thought we were screwed. I really did.
Yeah.
I really did. Just based off of the fact that there was less than 5 minutes remaining in the period at that point. The Stars had been turtling the entire third period. You knew that everybody was tired, especially our top defensemen, because of all the stupid power plays that were called for Winnipeg. And I mean,
Just
what were
didn't
your
look good.
what were you thinking at that point, Chris? What were you
I was
thinking?
man, we've won a lot of games recently. I don't think we're gonna win this one. So I was rationalizing what the hockey gods might deem fair for us, but I guess Gurionov had other ideas. And I'm very happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, after that goal, the Stars would press back. Now, it wasn't a huge press back, but it was enough. Denis Gurianov, again, he hasn't been on the score sheet much over the past 2 months, but lately he's played a lot better. And that was the most timely goal of the game. I know Robertson got a hat trick and he had his own timely goals, but holy crap, Denis Gurianov. I mean, oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
And I mean, we talked about this when the first line was popping off and we were still losing a lot. Like, if that second line could just give us something, just anything, we'll win so many more games. And as of recently, Ben, Gurionov, and Sagan have been giving us just that little bit, and boom, we're winning so many more games. Easy. And that's all the first line needs.
Mm-hmm.
After
that was
Robertson takes care of it.
And that was Gurionov's 9th of the year from Jamie Benn and Ryan Suter. So again, Jamie Benn very quietly just racking up points. It may not necessarily be goals, but he's still effective in what he's doing. And it's also without Tyler Sagan on that second line tonight. And Ryan Suter, I mean Ryan Suter also, showing up on the score sheet again. I know it was a secondary assist, but the fact that that even happened just shows that he's in the right place at the right time making plays. So, of course, because it's Winnipeg and Dallas, and this is the fourth meeting, and the other three have gone to overtime, that's exactly what happens. And in the overtime, it goes back and forth, back and forth. Lots of good chances for both teams going both ways. And that Ehlers shot that rang off the right post, goodness gracious. I mean, maybe not only should the Stars, buy a steak and a beer for Braden Holtby and Jason Robertson tonight, but also those posts, because that was ridiculous. Winnipeg had 3 posts. They had 3 posts tonight, and it just, goodness. I mean, if any one of those had gone in, we would have lost the game. But anyways, and we've already talked about it, probably the most iconic moment of this season. Jason Robertson gets his hat trick goal with 30 seconds remaining in the overtime period, completely out of gas, scores the goal, realizes he scores the goal, and then goes to sleep in the corner and says night-night.
He goes to sleep. Hands up. We know how Robertson sleeps now. He's a hands-up guy.
Yeah. And then I think my favorite part was John Klingberg coming over to him, and he's pulling his jersey up.
Hey,
dude, get up. Come on.
You
get
did
up.
it.
Oh, man. If that's not on Sports Center top 10 tomorrow morning, I don't know what it should be. Not for the goal even. The goal was great, but just for the celebration afterwards. And, I said this to Dad because I didn't actually get to watch that goal until I got here. But watching the way that they celebrated that goal, you could just tell they were all... Oh, yay! I'm tired. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, they
It
are
wasn't
done with Winnipeg.
right. It was the complete opposite of what I was expecting because I was expecting like when Klingberg scored the Game 6 goal against Nashville several years ago, pre-COVID,
Mhm.
and sent Nashville home. I was
Yep.
expecting something like that because of
Jumping and
how
hugging
amazing
and
that was.
crazy but
Right,
no.
exactly. And no, there was nothing like that. It was the complete opposite. But nonetheless, Jason Robertson is the first star of the game with his 3 goals. Paul Stastny is the second. Kyle Connor is the third. And it's kind of terrible that Holtby is not in those 3 stars. And I know it's the Winnipeg media that normally chooses the 3 stars of the game. The home media normally does, but Holtby should have been in on that. He really should have.
Yeah, it's idiotic.
And and I know I'm preaching about it a lot with Holtby, but he's gonna get overlooked in this game just because it's Jason Robertson.
Yeah.
He's gonna get overlooked.
Mhm.
And I mean, this guy is making $2 million. He sat on the bench for 3 weeks while he watched a younger goaltender basically maybe not steal his job because they were kind of 1A, 1B, but let him sit on the bench for a while he's dealing with whatever, some kind of injury,
Nagging.
sickness, something, whatever it is. And then he comes out and he puts on a performance like that, especially being cold on
That's
the
awesome.
road. I mean that everything that happened was fantastic. And
And that dude
if
is
there's
fighting for his
any,
career too. It's so awesome to watch him. Like, going
what a
from
bounce back. Seriously, what a
exactly
bounce back.
the dumpster he was in from the Canucks, so his career, he goes from on top of the world, like, the main reason the Capitals win the Stanley Cup. He goes to Vancouver where he's hated and has a terrible stats. Everyone thinks he's done, he's washed up, and he comes to Dallas just for a chance, trying to get his career back, trying to stay in the show. And oh my goodness, he has taken full advantage of it. I've loved watching him play. He plays with so much heart too. Like, he is doing everything he can for this team that he's barely been a part of. And it feels like he cares a lot about it. And I'm so happy that, I mean, it's such a smart pickup. I mean, after
We're
having
gonna have to
4
eat our
goalies on our
words. We're
roster,
gonna have to eat our words here in a second.
having 4 goalies on the roster, to finally we settled it. We settled it the way I wanted it to be. Ottinger is the number 1, so I'm still right. But Holby being the number 2, definitely a huge pickup and is so great for our young goalie to have such a great backup that we can rely on consistently.
Right, and not to mention the fact that the guy is playing fantastically. Yes, he's had some rough games, and he's been average sometimes. But I mean, this is the absolute best case scenario for any young goaltender, right? Jake Ottinger, he's arguably the number 1 right now. He's getting a lion's share of the starts right now. And the guy that's underneath you is Braden Holtby,
The
who won
Stanley
the
Cup
cup,
winner.
who won the Stanley Cup in 2018. He's seen everything, absolutely seen everything. And Ottinger gets to learn from him on how to prepare for a game, how to mentally get ready for a game, how does he do things that made him a Stanley Cup winner. And if you're Dallas, even if it's not this year that they go and make a deep playoff run and win the Stanley Cup, that kind of experience that you get from Braden Holtby for Jake Ottinger is completely priceless. And
Mhm.
I will eat my words right now. Jim Nill, I am an idiot. You are correct.
I'll do it too. You're correct, Jim Nill. One more praise for Holtby for his bounce back. Last year, goals against average 3.67. His save percentage is 889. This year,
Wow.
in 3 more games, his goals against average is 278. His save percentage is 913. His
That's
goals
amazing.
against lowered almost an entire goal.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, and not only is that not just a testament to how he's playing, but how the Stars defense is so much better than Vancouver's.
True.
So
Vancouver sucks.
I mean, I feel bad for Vancouver and specifically Thatcher Demko because he's putting up a wall for his team and they're not really helping him out much. But
Yep. To wrap up the Holtby thing, I'm so happy we got him for this year. I don't think there's a chance in the world we have him next year, but oh my gosh, it's been
maybe
fun to have him on the Stars.
I think I mean he might resign. He
He's
might.
he's gonna get paid starting goalie money next year. and we're not going to be able to afford it because he's not going to be our starting goalie. We're not going to pay another backup $5 million. So
Right,
he's getting at least that.
do you think he would be willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Stars?
No,
You
I
think
don't
this is
think
just a
so.
one and done kind of thing to
I
resurrect
mean,
his career?
he's
He's
going to
just
be
taking a
very
chance.
happy that he resurrected his career and he's playing again, but he's got to get paid, man. He's worth way more than $2 million, and that's all we're going to be able to pay him.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have some cap space. We are.
I would love to
We'll have a
re-sign
little
him.
bit.
It's not worth having a $5 million backup goalie, and you know that.
Right, and we obviously saw that with the whole Niemi Letnin situation years ago. But
And with just with the Hudobin thing. I mean, he's not on the team.
Yep. And I mean, speaking of which, Hudobin apparently has been doing okay in the minors. So if something happens to Ottinger or Holtby, you know, I mean, he's a good third goalie. He's a good third goalie. And isn't that weird considering that like we were thinking that he would be the starter at the beginning of the season, and now it's
He was the
completely flipped.
starter.
Yeah,
He started
I
game
mean,
1, I think.
I don't remember. It feels like that was so long ago, but man,
It has felt like a long after the past 2 shortened seasons. This season is so long, dude. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then while we're all talking over here, you and me, Chris, there's like a super group chat going on between Eric, Brandon, and Alex. I think the three of those guys are having a bunch of fun over there in the chat, just talking about what we're talking about. Thank you, all three of y'all for listening in. And keep up the. I'm not ignoring you, Eric. I just saw that.
No, he's
I just
ignoring.
said
He's
something.
ignoring.
I am
All right.
not. I am
All right.
not.
Moving on from our Holtby stan.
Okay.
The power play still sucks. It's awful. I mean, over
hey,
3 again tonight.
You hear that, Eric? I'm not, or I forgot who it was, Brandon or Eric. I'm not the negative Nancy in this episode. It's Chris.
I'll be the negative Nancy. The power play's awful. I mean, it's got to get better. We're still squeaking out the wins because we have great goaltending, and tonight just Robertson. That's it, Robertson. Period. But man, if we're gonna beat Colorado and Edmonton and all these other teams, we've got to get some power play support. And it's what we're supposed to be good at too. Like it should be easy to get it back, and we can't do it right now.
Well, and I mean, what did we go for on the power play tonight?
0 for 3.
0 for 3, yeah.
And I think the issue goes hand in hand with our defense not scoring issue too, because that's the way we scored on the power play. I mean, Klinger and Heiskanen they don't have a ton of goals. They have all the assists. All of the power play assists are theirs, every single one. So we really need to get them going. Klinger just does not look comfortable with the puck at all right now. Heiskanen obviously wasn't in this game. He's looked fine, but he needs to take more chances too. Because earlier in his career, he would go end to end, take the puck himself. I want to see more of that from him. I mean, he can do it, and he's got to make people pay for not paying attention to him.
And I'm sorry, you said John Klingberg should do that?
Heiskanen,
okay. I was about to say, don't let John Klingberg do that.
Yeah, we've had enough of Klingberg the puck over. The puck.
Right. And let me jump onto John Klingberg a little bit because he did have that turnover today, but there's got to be something wrong with him. There has to be something wrong with him. He's got to be hurt. He has to be. He has to have some sort of nagging injury because it's just been consistently rough for him this season. And I don't. And at first I was like, maybe the whole contract situation is getting to him, which I could see. And, the whole fact that it's public that I don't know if he's actually requested a trade.
No, he said it's not exactly true. He said if I'm not going to get a contract, then I'd rather be traded.
Right. So
it's half truth.
Right. But at some point, that has to turn around. It has to turn around. And you have to get yourself out of it somehow. And most of the players do when you look around the NHL. I mean, like the first person that pops into my head is Vlad Tarasenko, right? So Tarasenko asked for a trade, I think at the beginning of this season, right? Well, they did not trade him at all, and now he's had a really good year for the St. Louis Blues. And he turned it around, especially after being hurt for as long as he was. And that's just something that I kind of expected John Klingberg to do, but he just had a bad year. I mean, just a bad year overall.
It's a bad time to have a bad year too.
Right, exactly. When you're in a contract year, this is like the Stanley Cup window with this core is closing, all that jazz. There has to be something. He has to be hurt. I mean, that's just my
I
analysis
don't
on
think
this.
he
He has to be
is.
hurt.
I mean, I think his brain is hurt, but I don't think anything's wrong with his body. I think he's just
So you think
having a rough go
you
of
think
it.
it's just a confidence thing, a mental thing?
Yeah, I mean, not having a contract, I mean, I'm sure he's never been in this situation. I mean, he just signed whatever paper Neil put in front of him. So I'm sure it's tough on him and trying to play with that uncertainty above his head. He doesn't like it. So
And that's true. Well, um, anyways, guys, let me go get into the stats, and then we'll start to close this up tonight, Chris. Face-off percentage tonight. Stars dominate 59 to 41 percentile. And then on the power play, Jets 1 for 6. Should have been 0 for 6. That last one didn't really count. And then 0 for 3 on the power play for the Stars. Hits tonight 28 to 25 in favor of the Dallas Stars. Block shots tonight 11 to 9 in favor of the Stars. And I know you don't like the giveaway statistic, Chris, but this is really interesting because obviously we know that it's the home team, their guys that track the stats normally in those buildings, right? 26 to 5 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets, which is not a statistic you want to be in favor of. So I know you don't like those kind of statistics, but the fact that it's that, I mean that's 5 times the amount that the Stars gave up, according to Winnipeg stats keepers. So I
stat
mean, it
keeper,
does stat keepers, whatever. But I mean, does that say anything to you, or is it still stupid?
it's still stupid. I did not notice that at all. I mean, honestly. All right. I'll move it on because I don't want to talk about that stupid stat. That's stupid. Anyway, the next Stars game. We keep saying this. The next Stars game is huge. But this time
But
is to
even for
move
bigger reason, yes.
even bigger reason. Sunday, 3 p.m. matinee against the Minnesota Wild on national television, TNT. It should be awesome. This should be a great game. I mean, I know it's a matinee, but if national TV, Minnesota Wild, and it won't technically jump them because we'll have more games played, but tie them up at least in points. If that doesn't get you going, then you just aren't gonna be good on Sunday matinees. You just need to quit because this is the biggest matinee game you're gonna play all year. It's gonna be sweet.
And one of the things we should mention about this game tonight is the fact that with the win tonight, the Stars have propelled themselves into not the second wild card spot, but the first wild card spot. And which means that if they win tomorrow night, they will be, or not tomorrow night, Sunday afternoon. I keep wanting to say
Completely wrong.
Sunday
Completely
night.
wrong, right?
I know I'm both aspects, the whole Sunday thing and then the evening thing, whatever. But if they do that, they are tied with the Minnesota Wild for the third spot in the Central Division, which is something that we didn't see, 2 weeks ago. I especially after that loss against Calgary, which seems like forever ago now. I didn't see this coming, but the Stars have been pesky enough, and they've been in these games, and now they have a real chance, and they're still within striking distance of St. Louis for second.
Easily. Yeah. It's not even like it's probable right now, I think, the way we're playing. And yeah, it's a complete 180. They figured something out, and they're not even clicking on all cylinders right now. They're just finding ways to win. They're buying in emotionally, and they're scrapping for everything. Like earlier in the season, no way we win this game. This game is done as soon as they score that go-ahead goal. But just the way that the Stars are playing, they're playing for each other. They're playing for every last point, and they're doing it so well. And we also, this might open a whole can of worms, but I'll mention it briefly. The turnaround in overtime and shootouts from this year to last year, unbelievable. If we did what we did last year, this year, we're not close. Like we're way out. So we're where Winnipeg is. So that is huge too. Love having clutch guys back who can score those goals. So that's awesome.
Right. And while you were talking, Chris, Brandon was asking, who does Nashville play next? And Eric actually answered, it's San Jose. So that's not a give me game. San Jose is still a competitive team. So that's not a game that Nashville can just, say they're going to take. But the other thing I was going to mention, and Alex actually mentioned it for me here. Thank you, Alex, for listening. Is the fact that while we've been really good and we've been, getting points and stuff, the two teams above us have been free falling. I mean, Nashville is 3-6-1 in the last 10, and Minnesota is 3-7. So that obviously helps a ton with the fact that this is happening at the exact right time. The exact right time.
Oh yeah, everything's coming together.
and if we looking at the standings right now, if we were to win, if the playoffs were to start right now, the way that would happen is that the Dallas Stars would be playing against the Calgary Flames.
I'll take that every day of the week.
I know, right? Exactly. And although it'd be kind of scary because I think Calgary would want some revenge for 2020. So
we would
I don't know,
chew up the Calgary Flames right now. They are cheeks.
Well, anyways, Chris, anything else that we need to mention?
I wanted to mention, it's pretty hilarious. Edmonton was out of the playoffs last night. They lost, and now they're third in the Pacific. They lost in overtime, so they got 1 point. It is so stupid.
And Vegas is out of the playoffs too for the first time.
Yeah, that's who they
time.
jumped. They lost and they jumped Vegas, and technically jumped both wildcard spots because they're below both of them.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
I just don't get it, man.
Standings are weird.
Well, and I mean, if we were just in the Pacific Division, we would be third in the Pacific right now.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, that Pacific Division is much weaker compared to the Central.
Yeah, as we come down to the wire, the stuff that we were saying about the standings is definitely happening. The Pacific is going, and the Central's going.
Yep.
I should have made a different sound for the second one. Oh well, it's 11 o'clock.
Yep, it's late. We're gonna call it quits here tonight. Yep. The Stars win the game tonight here, 4-3. Thank you to Jason Robertson. And thank you to Braden Holby. Those two guys, the reason why we won this game here tonight.
GG, boys.
Anyways, guys, I'm going to close it up here with a promo for DraftKings. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring us and the Whole Hockey Podcast Network. Go and use the promo code THP. And the next time you go and use their app, again, for a special little offer from them. And that lets them know that we're the ones that sent you. We thank them for their partnership with us, and we hope that continues over the years to come. Once again, along with Chris, my name is Ryan. This has been the after game review for Game 54 against the Jets. We'll be back with you guys again on Sunday afternoon, hopefully talking about a Stars victory and then maybe even getting into the third spot in the Central here soon. So we'll see. Okay. You guys have a good evening, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Have a good night.